Hi and welcome to my video, and today I'm talking about Barge, B-A-R-G-E. It's contact cement, all-purpose, and this is the real deal. This is the strong stuff. This is like $44 Canadian, so I guess it's like $30 American, and this is like a lifetime supply right here. So it's pretty heavy duty. This is a great crafting glue for doing your craft projects. You want to close the lid tightly because it's got a solvent, and if it dries up then you can't use it. And you can actually buy a solvent if it does dry up, but I just would not let it dry out if I were you. There's like a wire applicator with a little cotton ball here at the bottom for putting it, applying the barge. So you don't need a lot of barge. This is like a lifetime supply of barge. This will last me a lifetime probably for the amount of barge that I use. Now what's so great about barge is that barge can fix your shoes. This is the real deal, my friends. This is a glue that will fix your shoes. And you can do it by yourself. It's that strong. This is the real deal. This is the strongest glue you'll ever... This is the strongest contact cement I think you'll ever find anywhere. This is like 10 times better than any contact cement you'll ever get at Home Depot. This is the real deal. Now I'm going to show you something. These are one of my pairs of construction boots. I'm just going to show you. So there's the toe. There's the toe of my construction boots, and here's a little tip. If you want your construction boots to last probably 2 or 3 times as long as they usually last, then pay attention to the seam between the leather and the sole. This seam here. Now, you never ever want this to start coming apart, and if it does start coming apart, well, that's pretty much, you're close to the end of your shoe, your boot. Okay? So what happens is if you're in dirty construction settings, like, you know, building forms, foundations of houses, stuff like that, or just mud or dirt, what happens is that if you're digging or whatever you're doing, there could be a gap between the rubber and the leather, and then what happens is a little bit of dirt gets in there, in that crack, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then the water gets into the boot, and mud gets into the boot, or sand or dirt gets into the boot, and the whole sole will start coming off, and that's the end of your boots. So why am I talking about barge? Well, here is a pair of, these boots are Timberland boots, and it's just an interesting story because I was actually, years ago in New Hampshire, I was actually at the Timberland factory when they made shoes in New Hampshire. I think it was New Hampshire or Vermont, when I was actually at the Timberland factory. I think all their stuff is pretty much made in China now, but I was at the Timberland factory in high school, so that's just a little funny story. That was probably 30 years ago, 28 years ago. I was at that Timberland factory in New Hampshire. But anyways, this is a pair of Timberland boots, and I like these boots because they look more like, a little bit like sneakers. They don't look like your typical construction boots, so I really like this style. But anyways, look at this toe. Okay, this toe was completely coming out off, and you could put your finger like right in there, and this is all separated. See where this little bits of glue there? That was completely separated. So what I did was, this is my second bit of Barge. I bought some Barge off eBay, and it was in a flimsy plastic container, and it was like, you know, a few ounces of it. It was not a real large amount of Barge. It was just, you know, I don't know, maybe an ounce of Barge. And to make a long story short, it dried out and I couldn't revive it. So I missed my Barge, and they had a place here in Vancouver called Lonsdale Leather where they sell it. And when I Googled it, that's where I found the store, and I went down there and I got this big container of Barge. And so anyways, here's my boots. This seam is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this seam. I just put a little bit of extra sealant in there, but other than that, it's like new, that seam right there. That's just a little bit of extra glue I put in there. I didn't even really need to put it there. But on all my construction boots, what you need to do is you need to really clean and dry out your boot. So my advice is, if you're in construction, have 2 or 3 pairs, and then always don't wear wet boots to work. Like, let them dry out for a couple days and then just rotate your boots. And then if your boot is like this and it needs to be fixed, let it dry out completely, and then clean it with like soap and water and a dirty rag, and a soapy rag, and clean it all nice and all the dirt off it, and brush off any loose dirt. And then clean the seam with, like, I have Tuolene, Tuolene, which is like a degreasing chemical. And you put the Tuolene in a well-vented area because it kind of gives off fumes. So you put the Tuolene on a rag, and you clean the seam perfectly, dirt-free, oil-free, dust-free. And you clean that perfectly down, let that dry, and then you apply tiny little bit of Barge, or even some sort of sealant that you have, all the way around here. And you do that to your boots, and you make sure that there's no cracks ever around here where anything can get in or any dirt can get in. And then if you have a major repair like I had with this, you have to really peel this back, and then you got to clean it out with like Q-tips and get in there, get all the dirt. When you go right in there, you'll see, I could see the metal plate. There's a little metal plate in the sole. It was all wide open in here, and I put the Barge on, and the trick with Barge is I used Q-tips. I didn't use the applicator because it takes a lot of Barge. You just need a little bit of Barge. So you take a Q-tip, put it in the Barge, put the Barge in, and into where the place you want to glue, and then let the Barge for about 10 minutes. Let the Barge dry out a little bit, and then it gets really tacky. The Barge will get really tacky, and then you press it together, and you can actually, the glue is so great that you can actually, the boot needed actually to be formed a little bit when I pressed it all together. So I had to actually form it to this nice toe shape because it was kind of like not making that nice toe shape matching the other boot. So I had to really force it in there. And then if you get it tacky, if you wait for the right amount of time, which is like 10 minutes or maybe a little bit more or less, when you press it in, like I'm doing with my thumb, it'll all start naturally just sticking together. That's how strong it is. If you wait the right amount of time and it dries out, you press this and the Barge will all stick together. And so it's amazing stuff. So thanks for watching this video. I gotta cut it short now. But and you can just tape it if you want to hold it overnight while it's drying. Just tape it up, put some tape to hold it all together, just for that until everything really sets. So I hope you liked that video. This is great stuff, and you can use it for fabric and everything. Thanks for watching.